Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you may be. I feel like CC Chris. How is everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing fantastic. I am doing fantastic. Looking forward to an amazing stream tonight. So, if you are free, if you are new here, I am JL. Welcome to Bridge the Divide. This is the live show that I typically do, usually once a week, where we talk about all kinds of cool things. Sometimes the claims that theists make, but sometimes we have big events that go on that capture the attention of pretty much the vast majority of the debunking internet, the atheist community and the theist communities, and we're going to talk about that tonight. And I'm so excited about this stream. It's going to be an absolute blast. But before we dive into that, just a couple of things. First and foremost, got a new video coming up real soon here on Bridge the Divide, and of course, I want to say I cannot wait to debut that for you. So look forward to that. And then of course, we have a new emoji. We are very, very close to unlocking the next emoji for all the channel members here. So if we do get enough channel members, I will unveil that new emoji on tonight's live stream if we haven't hit enough channel members. So if you like the show and you enjoy it, then please, you can support it. 99 cents a month. You get access to all the cool emojis I've made for you. And of course, the channel badge, which is the expanding mind meme. So the longer you're with me, the more your mind expands. See what I did there? So I hope everybody's having a fantastic afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. Let's say hi real quick to the people we've got here before we get too big. Charlie Welch is here. Good to see you. Dr. Nimrod as well. Clive Wells is in the house. Tort, Marcus Dresden, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Craven Mordick, the dude. I hope you are abiding. Let me see who else we got. Exceptionally Average is in the house. Zero is here for the first time. Good to see you, Zero. Met you on Discord the other day. I hope you're having a good one. Stephen Cup of Reasons, Score, good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for being here. And I see the Gaming Atheist is here. Thanks so much. Thor Rasmussen as well. And P. Bethulu, good to see you, P. Bethulu. Appreciate you being here. Spooky Bed here as well. Look at all those amazing channel members who help to support the show. I do appreciate it. You all rock. Jason T. as well. Good to see you. And Scott Duke, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for hanging out. Jay Vers, good to see you, bud. Said I should have ordered food instead of defrosting. Ordered food is good. It is good. That's why it's there. Charlie Welch, the only man on the internet never make a bet with. Good to see you, Charlie Welchy. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Joshua Lee, and I see as well Mark Short, Webb. Thanks so much for being here. Colin, definitely not Cromwell. Good to see you, bud. He says, I'm new here. What's this shit about? You're about to find out, good sir. Minx is here. Good to see you, Minx. Javier Hara, Aaron Reese is in the house. Pseudo Bambi as well. Sir Little Wolf, Maya Atkinson. So many amazing friends at the channel. Tony Regime. Look at all those amazing emojis. They're fantastic. I'm very proud of a lot of them. Surrender Monkey is here. Good to see you, Surrender Monkey. Chris S. Tinkerphil. Oh, look at those. Spellbinder 101. Thanks so much for being here, y'all. Before we blow up and get too big, and a big, huge hello and welcome to everybody who hasn't jumped up in the live chat, but we hope you do. And of course, if you have any questions later on, feel free to tag me, tag Bridge the Divide, and I'll catch them, I'll star them. Or if you have any super chats that come through, the link or the browser automatically stars them, so I will not miss them, but I will address them when we're done and we have some free time, because our guest today is really, really, really busy. He's got a crazy busy schedule, and I don't want to take up too much of his time, but this is something that we've really got to talk about. So let's give a big Bridge the Divide welcome. He's in the house.
Hello.
It's friggin' Professor Dave.
How's it going? Great to be here.
I am a tremendous fan. I really, really am. And it was an absolute pleasure to get the opportunity to stream the debate between you and Tor.
Cool.
I think I was like the only other channel that was live streaming it as it was happening. The other one was on Tor's channel.
How'd you get access to that?
He was streaming it live to his. So
there's like a way to get the feed
I found a website that was big debate coming up, Tor versus Farina, ding. And the link that said just watch on YouTube. I was like, okay, I'll watch on YouTube. So I clicked that link and it took me directly to James Tor's YouTube page. Mm-hmm. So he was live streaming to his YouTube, or he was live streaming.
No, I knew that.
Yeah, so
I'm so not techie. I didn't know that you can steal it.
Oh yeah, so I just live streamed and then I shared the screen over so we could all watch it and I could yell and do what the fuck are you doing and shit like that. It was a good time. I've done a lot of debates myself, but rarely have I seen an event be so divisive. This is number one, first and foremost. This is the most interactive video I've ever had on this channel, with over 1,200 comments on this thing. Now, my channel's not that big, so I'm less than 5,000 subs, but 1,200 comments on this video, 6,200 views, and still going up, almost 6,500 now, actually. And it's just been nuts. And everything is divided down half and half.
Yeah.
And before we dive into it, so I have to tell you, I did, and we're going to get into this, but I did a poll. I polled the audience and asked them, who do they think won the debate? Was it Dave? Was it Tour? Was it the audience? Or was it no one? Was it just a dumpster fire?
Yeah.
And 74% said you. 4% said James Tour. 3% said the audience. And 18% said no one, that it was a dumpster fire. And we're going to dive into that. But first and foremost, the most important thing, we have a lot of people here who may not be familiar with it. Can you give us kind of like an intro into why you wanted to tackle this, and specifically why James Tour?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm passionate about tackling misinformation in the science space, science denial, and of many varieties. So I had been doing, I mean, it started with flat Earth of all things, but then I started to branch out and do other things. And in particular, I think that that religious fundamentalism is a really toxic influence on society and is trying to actively pull us back towards theocracy and take away women's rights and all these things. And so where that exists in the science space, I like to go after these people. So young Earth creationism, but then so I saw this guy, you know, I came across a video by James Tour, and he was spewing all this stuff, and he's really passionate. I was like, wow, this guy, this is
animated. It looks
animated. Yeah. And it sounded pretty ridiculous to me. So, but and so I started looking into like what he's all about, and I noticed that nobody was pushing back on this guy. I could not find any content. I mean, I think maybe one or two people had done like little stuff on like a blog or something. So like people were talking about it, but nobody really had gone after it. So I thought, well, you know, I think I'll do it because I think I'm well suited for this, because my expertise is in kind of the physical and biological sciences. So kind of, you know, chemistry, biochemistry. So I think I'm equipped to do this. And yeah, put out a little innocuous video, 45 minutes, pretty polite, pretty balanced, pretty fair. Was not trying to insult him, not ruffle any feathers or anything like that. And his reaction to it was just insane. And so once he took the gloves off, I was like, all right, I'm going to humiliate this guy. This is just absolutely ridiculous. So since then, I've just been making content completely exposing all of his lies, all of his fraudulence, and he keeps volleying back and just digging the hole deeper and deeper. And so finally, at the end of this latest series of mine debunking his latest series, which was just a complete dumpster fire, I decided to, you know, he had this debate challenge floating around, which was, he was just grandstanding for his followers. But I was like, guess what? We're doing that. So yeah, I thought it was going to be a great, you know, it's a great opportunity to confront him to his face with a lot of these lies. So that was my MO going in. You know, the debate topic was not really, I mean, it's like, are we clueless about the origin of life? No, we're not. End of story. So if you're judging who won the debate by that, obviously I won, because I presented a bunch of origin of life research that demonstrates that we're not clueless. So I get that that wasn't the point really for anybody. For me, it was to expose all of his lies live to his face and in front of his followers and everything. Which I did, and he didn't like it. So he got pretty upset about it. So yeah, that's it. I mean, in doing this, he was the first person I tackled that has affiliation with the Discovery Institute, which is a disgusting propaganda mill that just churns out all of this crap. They want to get religion in science class, and they're trying to, you know, undermine public opinion of, in this case, the biological sciences. But, you know, it's a slippery slope towards all of these other terrible aspects, you know, all these other things that could happen to our society. And so, you know, one by one, I've been taking them down, and they have been enacting this incredible propaganda, this damage control campaign against me. But so, yeah, that's why I do it. I don't like science denial. I don't like pseudoscience. I don't like lies about science. And I'll target the people who tell them. And in this case, it's been James for quite some time, just because of how aggressively he's tried to fire back at me. So yeah, I don't tolerate that. I'm gonna take it.
I noticed that when this whole thing kicked off, in the little series of videos that you put out before, the back and forth that you all had, that you didn't come out swinging initially. You didn't come out swinging as hard as you did against, say, you know, the Globe Busters, because that was, you know, like the Flat Earther ones got, and like Electric Universe and stuff. Those got some pretty heavy handed.
Well, no, I mean, My first Electric Universe one is also very soft. And honestly, my first Flat Earth one is very soft. It's that the Globebusters did it live stream trying to humiliate me. So I
Okay.
humiliated them. Same with like Ben Davidson, Suspicious Observers. I did an Electric Universe debunk that was pretty polite. I didn't insult anybody. And then he just had a crazy thing. So I was like, all right, I'm going to bury you now because I'm not going to tolerate that. So it's really, I'm never the first one to take the gloves off. It's always just same with Matt Walsh and the trans stuff. I'm always responding to people who are acting really inappropriate towards me. And James, he made that 12-part response where it's just
Right.
Dave's clueless. He can't understand chemistry, blah, blah, blah. Lie, 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 lie. So
So,
it's like,
so the
yeah, we're
clueless
not doing
thing, yeah. So the clueless thing, because that was one thing I'm glad that you because shockingly, a lot of people in the audience had not seen the back and forth videos
yeah.
between the two of you, and so that's so I have to imagine when he did the whole clueless thing, you saw that it was like really because that was old content. He's just repeating himself over and over and over again.
It's his favorite word. I don't know why he uses it so much, but yeah.
Oh man. So going in. So you know who Tour is, you know his background, and you covered his background, and his rating and everything about him. You said him, I was like, this is what the world sees you as.
Yeah.
Now, knowing who you were going up against, when you were prepping for this, like what was your attack plan going in?
So it's very difficult. I'm at the severe disadvantage because I'm the one that's actually trying to represent the field accurately, whereas he just lies about it, and he can lie about anything, and I have to be ready to counter it. So he can just pull anything out of anywhere, and I have to like search through the literature to combat it. So I had definitely the much harder task. But so my goal was to just have all of that collection of literature and know as much of it as possible, as well as possible. Obviously, it's pretty hard to have 100 papers with every detail right off the top of your head. So there were moments where I was like, oh, all right, what's in that paper again? But that's totally different from him just going, nuh-uh. Like saying, here's all this literature demonstrating fully self-replicating ribozymes. And he just goes, nuh-uh. Nobody has done that. It's like, well, yes, they have. They've done this for 20 years. Like, here's all this. Nope, haven't done it. And it's like, oh my God. It's like, it's impossible.
So there was a big feedback from the audience that and I loved it. The vast majority of people loved it. As a matter of fact, after your 10-minute intro, I had to like mute myself because I was laughing my ass off. There were so many brilliant
Yeah.
little moments and brilliant little throwbacks to the series leading up. Just kind of
Yeah,
like
I wanted context. There has to be
yes.
context. Yeah.
And so what ultimately you decided to go after his credibility instead of slamming slamming the hard science. Now you have the papers
Well, I did both.
that you cited. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
but ultimately going through it, it was a solid. If you were to put like a ratio, I mean, the general ratio of it was you hit his credibility. You went
On the
to
opening
how
statement. Yeah.
yeah how he misrepresents.
Yeah.
So that kind of intro. Obviously, a lot of people reacted kind of like even people who were atheists and people who understand the science felt it was and I'm quoting them. I know it's not ad hominem. I know what an ad hominem
Yeah.
is, but a lot of people
You're
were
the only
citing that.
person in the world, I think, that knows what ad hominem means. So tired of ad hominem. You have no clue what this means. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's just like Dave is not saying that he's wrong, that Tour is wrong because he believes it. But no, he's wrong
No.
because this is the evidence because he's a liar and this is what he's doing.
Yeah.
But going after that and going to the jugular like you did you anticipate that kind of like you may come off kind of on a weak foot, or did it not really enter your mind?
I don't care. I mean, I don't care how it comes off. That's what needs to be done, right? That's the purpose of this exchange, is to expose his fraudulence as thoroughly as possible. So, and yeah, I went so far as to include one of my prompts to return to some of those lies, to rub him in his face and watch him squirm about it. And if you'll notice, he was unable to respond to any of those lies that I was presenting him. He just kind of wriggled around for a while, and that's kind of the time where he started to really amplify the volume.
Right.
So that's I was definitely he's getting uncomfortable.
So it's kind of like a touch to that, because he did one thing that I actually yelled at the screen a couple of times was how often he interrupted you.
Hmm.
But that's almost to be expected. As animated and kind of out of control as he could demonstrate he could be, I was kind of like, okay. But Your thoughts, just real quick, on that moderator, and not that thing that he shot out in the woods on his head, but that moderator himself. That, I mean, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, clearly in his pocket, which I anticipated. He made no attempt to say anything to James about his behavior. He made comments on what I had said 3 times, and all 3 times he was wrong. So yeah,
It
that's
seemed
about it.
I think I know a lot of people did. I thought I recognized him, that the moderator was a young Earth creationist, and they've recognized him from other things he's been a part of. So automatically, it kind of felt like we all knew going in that you were not on, that he had home, that
Oh yeah,
Tor had home field advantage.
yeah. In terms
So
of the audience too, I knew it. I mean, I knew that was going to happen, but
did the whole thing, but did the whole thing, I mean, being at Rice, he's going to have his students there, he's
yeah.
going to have other faculty there, but it felt like that for us, but did it feel like for you, like when you walked in, that the things were deliberately stacked against you?
Well, yes, the moderator was in his pocket, and he had like a third of it, the auditorium marked off reserved for like
Oh,
his church crew or whatever. So it's like, I mean, I knew he was going to stack the audience, and I knew he was going to have the moderator in his pocket. But it's like, I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? It's fine. I'm going to go there and I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and it still worked. It still landed. So
and I was kind of shocked that I'm assuming that the heckling that came from the audience, that just came out of nowhere, because it wasn't like you were yelling at them. The gloves came off when the audience started. I felt that the gloves came off when the audience started heckling, and the moderator did nothing to shut that down.
yeah,
And I'm
totally.
assuming that came from that section.
Yeah, I mean, it's his. What do you think that like science students were like, Dave, you're mean? No, they don't. It's
So his
his
church group
idiot
was there.
church group. Yeah.
That's interesting. So that's wild. So I'm kind of curious. I found it kind of interesting that what your approach did, and while I agree that you had the papers there that you cited, you utilized. It kind of, the way you approached the debate kind of put the onus on not just the people. I wouldn't expect the audience there, but kind of put the onus for people who were watching online to have already watched the videos going in, to get the deeper context and explanations that they were demanding during the debate.
Mhm.
Did you factor that in, or did that not matter to you?
I
Or
mean, that's just an unfortunate aspect of discussing science that is going to go over the heads of nearly everybody. I mean, essentially every single audience member. It's not going to be possible for them to grasp it. So each of the prompts, I tried to provide some context. So I tried to say, James has said repeatedly that there's no way to get peptides in water. This is idiotic. I've shown all of these references in my content. He ignores them. Here are the references again. Here are some additional references. This is how scientists have been able to make these compounds. Same with nucleotides, same with homochirality, same systems chemistry is a topic I've brought up repeatedly. He refuses to even acknowledge its existence. Here it is again. This is a key aspect of origin of life research that he is literally ignoring. So I try to always provide context, but unfortunately, yeah, how are you going to explain systems chemistry in 2 minutes to a layperson audience?
right.
It's physically impossible. So you just have to go through and then, show the papers. And he obviously played the game of nah and relied on his flock just kind of blindly believing him. But we got some chalkboard fans over here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this right off the bat. Anyone who thinks that I should have written anything on the chalkboard is an idiot. I'm sorry. You are an idiot. James scribbled amino acids on the board for no reason, to go, oh, look at me. I'm the smart professor. I can write
Right.
amino acids. Literally no reason to do that. And then the pageantry of demanding that I write schemes out that are present in the papers that I'm showing you, that somehow if I write them in chalk on the board, they'll somehow be more valid. First of all, it's physically impossible. If you're trying to describe multiple steps of abiogenesis that are using like mineral catalytic surfaces and autocatalytic sets and all these things, it's essentially impossible to write on the board, or it would take like an hour, and there's not even enough room on the board to do it in the first place. But second of all, it's all in the literature. Why would I need to write it with chalk? It was a pretty clever stunt by him, and only dumb people fell for it. So that's it. That's all there is to it.
There was one person in my comment section, and I tried to give this information to as many as I could, but there was only one person that I ran across who had a problem with this. Dave only cited papers. Dave didn't actually show any science, blah, blah, blah. And then I explained to him, I was like, look, dude, if you go back and watch the back and forth, like the series of videos that led up
Yeah.
to this debate, go back and watch Dave's responses. He breaks this stuff down. And if you watch, there was only
Over
one
hours.
person.
Yeah.
He came back like 2 days later and was like, oh, dude, I just watched those videos. It totally makes sense now. And I was like, see?
I mean, he didn't show any science. He only showed the papers. The papers are the science. We're discussing origin of life research. So we are to refer to origin of life research, the research in the field. Neither of us are origin of life researchers. Amazingly, some of his followers seem to think he is, which is like, what are you talking about? He does not work in this field. He does not understand it at all. And he's purposely hiding from it. I, of course, would never proclaim to be an expert in the field either, but I understand it better than him, not because I have an enhanced intellectual capacity to understand it over him, but he is deliberately hiding from it. When the rare time that he doesn't look at the papers, but the rare times that he does, he's not looking at it to learn. He's looking at it to comb through, invent some technical flaw out of thin air that isn't actually valid, and then try to use that to invalidate the study. So that's why in my opening statement, I made sure to include examples of him, technical examples where he says, well, where is they getting the hydrogen peroxide and the ultra pure water? That makes it not prebiotic. It specifically does make it prebiotic. You don't even understand the techniques that these people are using and what they're doing. He is so clueless about what these researchers are doing and why. And so obviously it's a short opening statement. I brought up 3 examples of him fumbling his analysis of the research, hoping that could get into people's minds of like, hey, later when he starts going, this isn't good, here's why. He's completely full of shit every time he tries to do that. He's either lying or he just doesn't understand what they're doing, genuinely doesn't understand what they're doing.
Right. So going off of that, when you're going like origin of life, the title of the debate, when I first saw it, I was like, what is that? What exactly are they going to be debating? The title of the debate seemed very vague to me. Like, are we clueless as to like origin of life? Well, we know complex chemistry. We understand this. If you had an opportunity to name this thing, what would you have actually named it to kind of narrow it down a little bit?
That I suggested that name.
Oh, really?
I demanded that name, actually. Yeah, because he wanted to name it, have scientists figured out the origin of life. It's like, that's the complete opposite side of the coin. Nobody says we have it all figured out. That's not the point here. Nobody in the field says that. I'm not saying that. We don't have it 100% figured out. He's the one that gets on the internet and shouts, we're clueless, we're clueless, it's his mantra. So that should be the title of the debate. It's what he says all over the internet. So the fact that in the email exchange he was reticent to title the debate that conveys to me that he knows that it's an indefensible position. But if that's the case, why the hell is he saying it all over the internet? So I pressed him to have that be. But then in his opening statement, he completely redefined it and was like, if we can't get all of these things, then we're clueless. So he tried to make it, do we know everything about it anyway? He tried to change it into what he originally wanted it to be. I didn't really care. I was just there to showcase his lies and rub all the research he ignores in his face. So to me, it didn't matter too much.
That really aggravated me. I know a lot of people when he first did that was how badly he attempted to poison the well. And it was kind of like, hey, okay, hang on a second, because that's not the framework we're operating in. He's like, oh no, it's gotta be this list of it. I was like, really, dude? It was like, and the way he wanted to define life specific, I was like, come on, you can't pigeonhole it like that. If so we saw his dishonesty from the jump.
All he wanted to do was write those things on the board so that he could write clueless next to them whenever he wants, which he was going to do no matter what. And then they would all cheer, even though they just have no clue what's going on. That's really, it's pageantry top to bottom.
So moving forward, as far as this kind of going to your background and how you produce as a producer, this will give some individuals a bit of insight into how you do it. Now, I have a video here that's been cited, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's been brought up no less than 20 times in my comment section, and it's a video from Shank the Globe. If you had a cover, I think this individual, let me bring it up. This individual may have just grabbed something from you. You may recognize where this conversation was. And do you remember when this took place?
I mean, I know Derek from Myth Vision. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a short. It's a little less than a minute long, but this has been grabbed by Shank the Globe, which is a flat Earth channel, and he's trying to use it to basically attack your credibility and like you as not only a science communicator but also as a creator. So just to give us a little context on this, I'm going to show it to the audience real quick.
I didn't know what the channel was going to become. I didn't know it was going to become the center point, the centerpiece of my life, and that it becomes successful and everything, and that I'd go on to explain dozens of other topics, including topics I know nothing about, right? I'm not professing to be an expert, honestly, in any academic field, not even chemistry, including topics I know nothing about. I'm not professing to be an expert, honestly, in any academic field, not even chemistry. I hire experts in the field to write me the scripts, and then consultants to look at the scripts and look at the finished animations and make sure it's all good, right? I go on to explain dozens of other topics, including topics I know nothing about, but I hire experts in the field to write me the scripts.
Okay, we get it.
Yeah. So because he jumped it a bit, I just want to make sure we caught it all. So
dozens of other topics, right? I have content on my channel on economics and philosophy and I've decided to go broad with the channel. So I hired writers to do other stuff, things other than what I studied, right? I do know a lot about chemistry. That's what I studied. I got a bachelor's in chemistry, and then I did most of a master's in synthetic organic chemistry, didn't quite finish, and then came back to do science education, but I still have graduate work in that area too. So no, I understand chemistry quite well. I just wouldn't be so bold as to call myself an expert because I'm not a working chemist of 30 years that has all this experience in the field. If we're talking about like in all of the origin of life research that I discuss, I would 100% defer to the authors of the papers in discussing the content. It's just that they don't want to do this debate. I would much rather that experts in the field be debating James, but they don't want to do it. So they're busy doing research, and they're just like, who is this clown? Who is this complete buffoon humiliating himself on YouTube, fumbling all of our work? Just ignore him. He's a troll. He'll go away. He doesn't go away. That's the problem. Right. Me as a science communicator, I interface with the public directly. I'm sort of the liaison. I'm in between the scientific. I report what the scientific community does. So I take it upon myself, and I have plenty of knowledge base in chemistry that enables me to talk about this research in an informed way. But yeah, they know it better. Nobody is arguing that. James does not, because he doesn't work in this field and doesn't understand it and is hiding from it. But yeah, so that clip is idiotic. I mean, I understand chemistry and related fields quite well, and then I just took it upon myself to make my channel go very broad. So I went into, mycology and zoology and botany and immunology and, philosophy and economics. I mean, I never studied economics, but
I think you've even touched on meteorology at one point where you
I'm doing
ahead.
Geology now. Yeah, I'm doing geology, and a PhD geologist is writing my geology tutorials. What's the problem, right? I'm not going out there going like, I'm an expert in geology. No, I'm not. I didn't study geology. I studied chemistry. So,
and that's what I wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity to explain, because a lot of people were being exposed to that and didn't get to hear from you.
I don't need to explain myself to flat earthers. They're idiots. They're the single dumbest people alive.
Given the editing, I could tell that it was most likely, I didn't see the original video, but it was being taken out of context. I understood the first part of it is you being intellectually honest.
Yeah.
Saying, this is where I stand, this is where the experts stand, and I act as the intermediary, of course.
It's not even really out of context. It's just I said things that are true, and who cares, right? It's like, I'm not an expert in dozens of subjects. That's true. Nobody is. Nobody is.
True.
That
Absolutely.
doesn't mean that I can't disprove flat Earth with naked eye observations and logic a toddler could understand, which I've done many times on my channel.
The moon one is my favorite. The moon one is my favorite. Just looking at the moon videos, this is how you could do it without tools. Just basics. Yeah, I was like, I loved it.
The one after that is even better. The stars, it's just
how easy it is.
So easy.
So when you were in there and you were in the heat, you were in the thick of it, Tour is gesticulating and doing his thing. And I find it just hilarious. Yelling at you, yelling at the audience, moderating the moderator. He lost on those terms alone. I've never heard of that
Yeah.
before. I've actually been in a debate where my interlock with my opponent got kicked out of the debate because started moderating the moderator. So just wild. But when you were in the thick of it, were there any surprises that tore through you, or at any moments where you felt you kind of like were like, oh, and you had to kind of like ad lib and kind of like work there, or did you anticipate all of it?
No, I mean, I knew that he was going to freak out. I knew he was going to be screaming like a toddler. I knew he was going to throw a big old tantrum. I guess it was even a little more than I anticipated. I mean, he was really, really unhinged, but I like that because it makes him look like a complete buffoon. So I was like, great, like that's, you're kind of doing my job for me by doing that. But I knew that what he would do is like, he would, like, the goalposts were completely different in the debate than on his content, because on his content, he doesn't have anyone pushing back. So we can go, nobody's ever made peptides. Nobody's ever made peptides prebiotically. They can't make them in water, blah, blah, blah. But then when we started talking about peptides, he conceded that and immediately went for the side chain thing, which is just like, it's shifting the goalpost. Now, the problem is, like, you could have an honest discussion. You could have an educated discussion about the research that is investigating that stuff. He's not going to do that, right? He's just going, no, here's the thing. Nobody can do it. And now, oh, here's a paper. And this investigates this. So, but it's like he needs to deny, but he wants to find exactly the right point to jump in the pipeline, say nobody's ever done this, because his audience has no idea what's going on. So if he can find the limit of the field and go, they can't do this, then in the eyes of the audience, they go, they can't do anything. We're clueless, right? Well, it's not that we've done prebiotically plausible peptide formation in water by all of these, dozen different chemical activators, which are prebiotically plausible. That's a clue. Then, okay, this question of the side chains, it's a valid question. Okay, now let's look at studies that are working on that problem so that we get even more of a clue. We can get even further. So he wants to dive right towards the limitation of the field and ignore everything prior, which all constitute dozens of clues, right? It's all work in the field where we're figuring out how this prebiotic chemistry could have happened, and go, here's this one thing, and we don't know how to do this, although actually here's some research that shows that we kind of do. But if we can't do this, we're clueless. Everything's clueless, and I'm gonna go run to the chalkboard and write clueless no matter what you say. And it's just ridiculous.
I've always felt and the not clueless bit was hilarious, which is why I'm seeing it pop up in the live chat, hashtag not clueless, which is I think you kicked off a trend there. I've always seen OOL research is very much like a giant jigsaw puzzle, of which we have large sections filled up, but we are still missing some sections. But we see enough of the image. We can be like, we have here and here and here and here, but we can tell it's a fucking elephant. Like we can see what's coming into shape here. So
got a missing ear.
Right.
Part of the tail is not there, but it's
as far as predictions go, do you estimate 15, 20, 25 years in this field for us to really have the breakthrough where we can have a fixed theory of abiogenesis?
I would never make a concrete quantitative prediction like that. I don't really know. But I mean, it depends on what the goal is, right? Because the problem is this: there's too many people, and James likes to throw this straw man out there as like that we can build a cell, that we can synthesize a cell in the lab as being the point where we understand abiogenesis. It's not. That's synthetic biology. There's overlap with origin of life research, but that's not what the field is trying to do. The field is trying to figure out how life came about prebiotically, not what can we do in the lab, right? It's because it's not a bunch of molecules floating together and then boom. And if we can figure out which molecules how, right? That's not how it happened, right? So that's why one of my prompts had to be systems chemistry, and talking about how you have these autocatalytic sets, you have these molecules, you have ribozymes and you have peptides, and the coevolution happening with these systems of molecules that over millions of years produce the first protocell, right? And so this is a field that he literally will not discuss. He has never talked about it in any of his content. And in the debate, immediately after my prompt was over, he tried to jump over to synthetic biology. And I had to go, gish gallop, gish gallop, gish gallop, come back to systems chemistry. We're talking about ribozymes. We're talking about autocatalytic sets. This was the prompt. He can't do it. He just can't do it. And then it devolved into him just lying. He just said, no one has ever gotten more than 10% replication of a ribosome. It's a lie. It's just a lie. It's been happening for 20 years. We've had this has been going on, and he just repeated it over and over and over again, knowing that his followers have no clue what's going on, and they'll just cheer, yeah, James is right. He's just completely ignoring an entire field of science because, as I was very clear to say, fully self-replicating molecules that evolve by natural selection, that's very, very pertinent to the origin of life, right? We have Darwinian behavior on the molecular level prior to the existence of a living cell. This has profound impact on the field and on philosophy even, right? This is an incredible breakthrough. And so obviously no one has like watched autocatalytic sets become a living cell. It's not like we've seen that. So we're not like, totally, we got it. And in fact, there are other competing models that don't rely strictly on ribozymes and peptides co-evolving to produce life. There's definitely way more to talk about, other models and others. We have a lot to figure out, but that he even when pressed to his face, will not even admit that this area of science exists, is just, you can have no better proof of his inability to have a good faith conversation about this topic. He does not want this science to be real, and he just shuts his eyes and ears and goes, nah, and wishes it will go away. That's really all there is to it.
So that was an interesting thing, as kind of because on the website that I found the debate information on, it gave the opportunity to submit questions, questions to be asked from online, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to submit a question, because given his position, I saw at the end he was really trying to ensure that he never stated that he used his theistic, his theistic foundation in his science class. Like, he doesn't teach that. Like, he keeps them separate. But obviously he's coming from that because he's basing all of this on the assumption that this is all true, and that that's where he's working from. And I asked him about that because in that sense, I wanted to ask him, the question I submitted was, I wanted to know if he believes that that abiogenesis is a mutually exclusive concept from his God, or these two, can only one of them be true? And and they're not. I don't think that they are. And I never did get his answer. I wanted to get that answer from him.
No, but he stated this outright. So this is, he contradicts himself, right? When he's in front of an audience that is receptive to his faith, he states outright, I'm a creationist. I believe God created life, right? It was an act of God. The creation of life was a divine act. And he believes this because of Scripture. And on his website, he says Scripture over evidence, right? Scripture beats science. That's how his worldview operates. So he's ideologically bound to denying abiogenesis. I was very clear to state that immediately in my opening statement. So his opinions on the field are irrelevant. He's a preacher, not a scientist in this area, not his research. That's completely separate, because it does not infringe. His research does not infringe on his faith, but this does. So he tries to pretend to be open-minded. He'll often say, maybe we'll figure it out later. Maybe, it'll be great. But that's a facade. Right? He is ideologically bound to denying abiogenesis, which is very silly, because there are plenty of religious people so they want to make it as though I'm this militant atheist, and I'm like, you gotta be. I don't care. You're lying about science. That's what I care about. There are plenty of people who are deists, or have a particular faith, and they allow their worldview to conform to science. So they'll go, okay, I believe in God, right? That's my religious belief. And then let's see what happened scientifically. Okay, it looks like they're figuring out how life came about. And I say this all the time in my content, like, the God that James believes in is so pathetic that he will create the universe and then go, it's kind of boring. I think I want life, but I don't know how to do it. Let me just nudge these. Okay. Oh, good. We got life, but it's not cool enough. So maybe I got a dinosaur now. And it's like, well, it's such an impotent loser God. Like, why can't you believe in a God that goes, okay, the universe exists, and then everything unfolds according to the natural laws of that universe? It's,
right. One of my favorite theists, and I kind of side with Christopher Hitchens on this. One of my favorite theists is Francis S. Collins, who worked with the Human Genome Project, was the director of the NIH at Bethesda for like 16 years. But he is easily reconciled in his book, The Language of God. Sure. He's reconciled his acknowledgement of the evidence. He's like, look, the evidence is irrefutable. Here it is. We have to reconcile this with the faith claim, because it doesn't make sense for this God to be what we think it is, and then for the evidence to be like, this is what, that doesn't make any sense. That says
Right.
that the God's deceptive. So there must be a way to reconcile it.
Yeah, if you are if you're a religious person, or if you're a theist that believes that science, as revealed empirically by scientists, it reveals the mind of God, right? I don't care. It's like I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist, but it's like I have no interest in arguing about that. You know what I mean? So this whole smear campaign from the DI of this militant atheist is so pathetic. It's just like I have zero content about atheism on my channel. I've never brought it up.
Right.
No interest in it. I care about science deniers, which is them top to bottom. Yeah.
And it's not just the DI, it's not just the Discovery Institute. It's a number, because I've been looking around, because I have tabbed, or I have bookmarked all of the little like creationist sites. And so like the Discovery Institute, the Institute of Creation Research, which is based out of Dallas. I used to drive by them every day when I lived down there. So websites like Evolution News, and individuals that like the little individuals that are paid to do their non-peer reviewed content for them. Everybody is coming out of the woodwork on this. This backlash from this community has been intense.
Yeah, because I mean, this guy was their shining knight, right? He's the only one in the entire community that is an actively publishing researcher. They have a handful that have doctorates, but a bunch of them have got a doctorate just to do apologist work. Like they've never published any research. A couple of them have a little bit of research, but then they don't research now. They just write shitty books, right? This is the only guy they've got who's actually a good scientist, right? And he's very vocal. And so for him to be humiliated to this degree by a YouTuber is a very bad look. And I've been doing it for 2 years now. So yeah, this is they gotta pull out all the stops on the damage control.
It was brutal. It's hilarious. I even had to comment on one of them myself, because I have had ICR posts and DI posts, and I think like there's been 5 separate tweets that have come up about using the same picture from the debate. It's not like even different angles, but it's the same thing. Dave for Farina versus Tour, and just trying to call you out, and to an egregious degree, I would say, in my opinion, that trying to like slam you is like, no, this is what happened, trying to control the narrative.
They write entire articles based on a tweet I wrote. Like that's how desperate they are for content. They're just like, how can we? I picture them in their little conference room, just like, how can we get this guy? He's such a jerk. It's so pathetic. It's the most pathetic thing I can think of. They're such losers.
It shocked me. What's the 5th one popped up? It was like, I have never
more than 5. No, more than 5. At least
what's the 5th? Yeah, once the 5th one popped up for me, I was like,
yeah.
I've debated young Earth creationists before, and evolution deniers, and all this, and I have never, and some mean ones like Nephilim Free and stuff, people like that. I've never seen somebody so butthurt in the response to this, just to keep going on. Well, maybe Darth Dawkins.
There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money behind the DI, though. That's the thing. Like, this is a very big movement for Christian nationalism, and they don't want to. Yeah, so I'm definitely ruffling a lot of feathers here, but yeah, it's pretty sad.
It was why I'd never seen that. So you've debated Tour, and I think I would say my consensus, I think it could have been a little bit better, but as far as the structure goes, I think the deck was stacked against you deliberately. I think he obviously Tour had home field advantage. The moderator was crap. I would have dragged him out of the hall. That's just my opinion from moderating debates and my experience. But now you've debated and it's done. Are you done with Tour? Or do you anticipate a response, or what are kind of your final thoughts and the future of where this could go?
He like, I don't think he's going to stop, because I think continues to be emboldened. Like, he's just in his echo chamber, and like on his side, they're all celebrating his victory. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right.
So I don't foresee him stopping, but like, he continues to attract more and more negative attention to himself, and the outbursts keep getting worse and worse, to where like I feel like at some point there has to be some kind of ramifications for him, because he's bringing so much shame to Rice University. Like, he's just it's really an embarrassment to the university. So I don't know what it's going to take for them to slap him on the wrist, but
I'm curious. I would have loved to. I mean, given his performance, given him yelling at the audience, yelling at you, how it almost came up. My background is in psychology, specifically forensic psychology, and it almost came off as I would be inclined to say that person was manic, and I was like, that was.
Oh no,
he
is.
It was so quick,
He's an unhinged maniac.
I would be shocked if there wasn't a meeting of the board after that performance. Is like, we need to have a discussion, or at least somebody pulled him in and be like, hey, look, dude.
I don't know. I don't know if there is or isn't. I mean, I know that there's people over there that are really embarrassed by him, but I don't know.
Do you think you'll debate him again?
I mean, debate him again? I don't know what it would be about. Just like another opportunity to just shove all of his lies in his face. I mean, I don't know what we would even be debating about. You know what I mean? It's
well, I guess we'll have to see if he responds, if he has like a response video, because I think as far as he's been quiet since the debate. Like, there hasn't been much. There's just been the sycophants just kind of clamoring about and saying him up. One thing that I got a question from a lot of audience members during the debate at the very, very beginning, the gift that he gave you. Do you have that? Because we saw it was like your image was on it, but was that all it was, or?
It was like, my logo and my channel name.
Oh, okay. So it was just kind of like
yes.
Oh, neat. Very cool. Because a lot of people thought it might have said something on it, like it might have been like a message of wisdom or something.
Screw you, you jerk. No, it was a gift meant to This is like, hey, look at what a nice guy I am. Right? Look at what a nice, sweet, good Christian I am. David, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's just everything is a stunt with these guys, right? He tries so hard to put out this, like, I'm just a nice, gentle guy, but he's just like boiling with rage inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that did not come out during the debate. It absolutely didn't. That was wildly intense. I think we thought it was like, if somebody was like, well, probably has his face there and it just says clueless right next to it, is because he was so fond of it
one day. Yeah. Yeah.
So going forward, as far as your content goes, do you plan on sticking with this, or just if it happens to come up, you'll address it then? But what do you have next coming up as far as like?
I'll do a little bit of like an analysis or like a fact checking just to like show clearly, like, hey, lie. Here's all, I'll do something probably not too long, a pretty brief one, just to highlight some of the key moments. And then, I have a lot going on my channel in terms of the academic tutorials, but I'll go back to humiliating Discovery Institute for sure. I'll keep humiliating everybody on the roster. I have at least 4 more that I for sure want to do. There's so many clowns over there, and some of them have not been humiliated yet, so we gotta get through them. As far as James, if any other content he makes about me, I'll shoot it down. I have to respond. So
respond as necessary.
Yeah, respond as necessary. I got a lot on my plate, so it's like I'm not gonna. Yeah, every series he's done, I've done my definitive debunk of that series. So I'm
fantastic.
I'm up to speed. Yeah.
All right. Well, I do appreciate you hanging out with me. This has been an absolute blast. Wanted to just sit down and get your thoughts on how everything went down. I think, despite the deck being stacked against you and you not having home field advantage, definitely not a neutral platform. You came out swinging, and love the fact that if they weren't going to control themselves and behave themselves and act with decorum, there was no expectation for you to do that, because I was just like, well, they're going to act like assholes. Then Dave has full, and I love how that.
I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy, and stand-up comics address the heckler, right?
Yes.
You don't let the heckler go. If you let the heckler keep going, they win. They take the stage over, right? So no,
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, but before I let you go, let's see what we got here real quick, real fast. We're just going to tear through these because I know Dave's got places he got to be. P. Bethulu for 10 Australians, his first-time pledger, short-time listener, has been bugging the feck out of me. But is your voice that of being interacting with a certain person of shoulders previously over many years? I'm not sure what that's about, but thank you very much, P. Bethulu, for the super chat. I do appreciate that. Gaming Atheist says, your stream introduced me to Dave. Thank you for that. Dave, you rock. From the Gaming Atheist. Javier Hara says, bridge the divide. # not clueless. Absolutely. We are not clueless. Thank you very much, Javier. Clive Wells says, I was amazed that Tour showed his employer what sort of petulant child he is. He has brought his university into disrepute.
Agreed.
And another a geophysicist named Tony Purcell, Dr. Tony Purcell, or PhD Tony, you may be familiar with. He was in the live chat at the time, and he was like, and he was just perplexed how the faculty would just not, how they allow this. It's like, this guy's an insult to educators. It's like, what is he doing?
I just imagine they all like snicker behind his back everywhere he goes. It's just like, there's that lunatic. Like, I don't know why they still have this guy here. Yeah.
Colin, definitely not Cromwell, for 10 freedom dollars says, feck jail. I'm the fanboy right now. I'm a programmer, but love learning. I started with your flat earth fun stuff, and now I have learned a little chem. Love your channel, Dave.
Rock on. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate that. Aaron Reese says, am I the only one that wants to be like, shut the fuck up, JL? We want to fawn over Dave too. And pretty much I think everybody was. Aaron Reese for $4.99 freedom dollars says, you didn't need to memorize 100 papers, Dave. You just needed to put it on the damn board.
I just needed to put the entire text and every single scheme of 100 papers on the chalkboard.
I swear, it was like the way he wanted, what he expected is like the room would look like, the opening sequence to In the Mouth of Madness, just Sam Neill just all over the walls.
Yeah. Like that would be it. And it's like, dude, it's right here. This is where the science is in the papers. It's really cute that you can, by the way, he can't even do it. Like he keeps labeling it aspartic acid and calling it asparagine. Like he's an idiot. He doesn't even understand. Like he doesn't even get it right. You know what I mean? Like he keeps making Bush League errors of freshman year biochem. Like that's how, but everyone's just like, he wrote a molecule on the board. He's the smartest guy in the world. It's like, you guys are so dumb. I can't even, they're like flat earthers. Like it's just astounding.
Let's see. Colin, definitely not Cromwell, for 10 freedom dollars says, I am disappointed that Dave didn't drop the best line. Just because you don't understand it, that's not my problem.
Yeah, I got to bring that one back. Yeah, that was a good one from the Globebusters one. Yeah.
Alien X Gaming says, why can't you draw it on the chalkboard? Oh, the chalkboard, man. Dude.
What a dumb stunt.
Web B for 2 freedom dollars says, the cheering for Dave's tutorials was priceless.
That was one of my favorite moments. Yeah.
I loved it. And one thing I got to point out is that as it went on, yes, Tour was like, yeah, Tour. But that cheering for Tour got quieter and quieter and quieter as the debate went on, I think. And I think Tour did that to himself.
Oh, he sure did. I think that some of his fans are too rabid to care, but I think some of them were a little bit like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why are you behaving like this? Like, it's incredible. I mean, like it's weird being in the middle of that because it's a little jarring when it's directed at you, but also in the back of my head, I was like, this is gold. Like you're digging your own grave here, dude. Like it's ridiculous how you're behaving.
Aaron Reese for $4.99 says, but my science is louder than your science. Quote, James Tour. The direct quote, if I remember correctly. Thank you, Aaron Reese.
Oh, by the way, one comment to put in there. If you read the email exchange between us, initially he refused to allow open discussion because he said that he thought I would yell over him and not allow him to speak. He said that.
The man is a living movie projector.
Yes.
Answers in Atheism for 10 freedom dollars says, Professor Dave, you did the greatest debate presentation that I've ever watched. Bravo. Thank you, Answers in Atheism, for that. Hillhugger says, loving the ecology series, Dave.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a fun new one that I'm doing.
Dessel Drace says, Professor Dave, can you name 3 of your top favorite ABio papers and explain why you think they are significant?
This is the person that sent me a really cool list of papers. I tried to fit some of them in there. What are my favorite ones? I mean, I just really love systems chemistry. So like a bunch of the stuff from Gerald Joyce. He just like the niche partitioning in the coevolution of the ribozymes. That one is incredible. I mean, I just like went because I didn't even know this until I started looking into this field, and I was like, oh my god, we have self-replicating molecules that evolve by natural selection. Like this is crazy. So he has many papers, but that one, the niche partitioning one, where the ribozymes co-evolve to prefer different food sources of a pool, it's just like this is a stunning parallel of biological systems on a molecular level. It blows my mind. Other stuff. I mean, I think it's really cool what Dave Deemer is doing in the analog, like the hot spring stuff. Like they're getting polymerization of monomers in the hot spring, right? They're getting it, so it's like very, very relevant. I don't know. Yeah, that's two off the top of my head. I can't think of a third one. Yeah.
Awesome. Brucifer Higginsworth says, "Hey Dave, great debate. Can you explain the equations Tour kept putting on the chalkboard?" Or I think he might mean
Yeah.
the chemical formula. The formula.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. He put aspartic acid and lysine coupling to make a dipeptide, and was like, "How do you do it?" I mean, it was just like it was just, how do you get this, right? And then it's in the papers, right? And then he showed two sugars coupling. I think, it was very basic. Like, these are the biomolecules. Like, he just drew amino acids for no reason. Like,
And that
you
was
could put this in a slide, you idiot. Like, what are you doing?
That was Brucifer Higginsworth for $5 freedom. Thank you so much, Brucifer. I do appreciate that. Terrar Adeguello says, "Tour lost it, and I'm glad Dave didn't hold back." Absolutely. Jefferson Spatchcock, one of my favorite content creators, said for $4.99, says, "I can't say I enjoyed the debate or even understand the debate, but when James Tour screams 0, I knew something special happened."
No Nobel Prize. It's also not true. I mean, there are plenty of Nobel laureates that work in origin of life research. It's true that their Nobels weren't specifically for the origin of life research that they did. It's for other stuff. But it's like, dude, we've got, like, Shostak is his favorite guy. He just, like, accused him of all this fraudulence. Manfred Eigen. I mean, there are Nobel laureates that have been prominent figures in origin of life research. So, and he doesn't have one, not even for graphene, right? When they did graphene, they didn't think of him. So this thing of him being like the best chemist in the world, he has a lot of publications because he has 30 to 40 graduate students that do it, and he slaps his name on them. He has a lot of publications, and he has a bunch of patents. None of that has anything to do. It's just has nothing to do with anything. That's it.
All theatrics.
Mm-hmm.
P. Bethulu for 10 Australians says, "Dave, Farina, and JL, are either of you of the self-replicating protein? I think it's the one involved in mad cow disease, possibly a prion, or aware of the self-replicating protein. I think it's the one involved in mad cow disease, or Jakob Creutzfeldt disease, possibly a prion."
I mean, I know what prions are. I'm not really familiar with how they replicate. Actually, off the top of my head, I don't remember any of that. I know that there are models for origin of life research that involve networks of self-replicating ribozymes and peptides. So, like, they're catalyzing the peptide, and then it's like cross-linked stuff. I don't know much about prions.
I don't know much about themselves. To P. Bethulu, to answer your question, I don't know much about it. I know about the physiological effect that prions and prion disease has on the brain. I'm familiar with that and how Jakob Creutzfeldt actually affects the brain, and from a cognitive perspective, because neurophysiology, neuroscience is a kind of a joy of mine. So, but I going like into the detail of that, I'm not sure myself. So.
Mm-hmm.
Steve McKepper-Freed says, "Bridge the divide. The problem with Tour is he cannot accept anything unless it can be done in synthetic chemistry. Unfortunately for him, life is not synthetic."
Yeah, very true.
And I think what it comes from is because, it may be because of his ideology, because he's so ideologically anchored to one specific perspective, is that when it's done, if it's done synthetically, then that reinforces his idea, or the kind of creationist idea that it requires intelligence to make life.
But he can't get his head out of it. Like, he's all talking about, like, purification. It's like you the chemist need to purify so that you can isolate the compound, so you can characterize it, so you can do your NMR and go, yes, I got the molecule I want. Nature doesn't have to do that. Nature makes whatever the hell it makes, and then it goes from there, right? So if the
conditions are right, it will take place. If they are not right, then it will not take place.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that you have an impure solution, right? Whatever chemistry can occur with whatever substrate will continue to occur. Right. He just thinks like a lab chemist. I mean, with stuff like they ran it under argon. Yeah, they ran it under argon so that it doesn't come into contact with the oxygen in the atmosphere that wasn't there back then. So this is a thing that makes it more prebiotic, not less. Like, can you wrap your head around that, buddy? It's just, he can't do it.
It's kind of like the flat earther claim of trying that they want a simulation of Earth gravity when we are standing here in Earth's gravitational well. It's like, what are you talking about?
If you can't make water stick to a tennis ball that's spinning, then there's no gravity. It's like borderline that level. I mean,
that boggles my mind. As bad as I saw a tweet recently of a flat earther saying the moon, or it was like rocks don't reflect light, and it was like, but it was like the whole thing about the moon.
Yeah.
And stuff like this. And then they showed a picture of a rock, and I'm like,
Can you
And it-
see the rock?
Can you physically see it? It's
Then
like
it's
an whipping out.
reflecting light, you idiot.
It was
Yeah.
it was a super cell phone. Hill Hugger for 5 Australians says, thank you, Dave, for exposing Tour. If we are clueless on origin of life, wouldn't a genuine scientist advocate for more research and more funding?
Sure, yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely. Best of Freya says, damage control, it is a tad too late. The boat is sunk and several thousand feet below the surface.
Yeah, sadly for many of his followers, they don't agree, but they don't see it. But yeah, I mean, his reputation has been severely damaged due to our interactions. Yes.
Alski says, fact check yourself while you're at it, Dave. Word is there are plenty of chemists saying you misinterpreted every paper you cited.
No, there aren't.
I think, but there's a laugh emoji there, so I think that's
okay, sarcastic. Gotcha. Okay,
yeah, I think it's sarcastic.
Fair enough.
Mr. E-Man for 5 Australian, thank you so much for the obligatory ghosts. I'm not broaching that subject with Dave on the channel. I'm not going to embarrass him with that. I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. It's not going to happen. He would just be like, why am I on this channel? Charlie Welch for $2 Freedom Dollars says, fave Zepp song, Dave. Rain song for me. Song for me.
The track immediately before, Song Remains the Same. I think Rain Song is track 2 on House of the Holy, right?
Nice.
If I remember. Yeah, A Song Remains the Same. That one, that gets me every time.
Awesome. AJ Heap for 5 Freedom says, the chalkboard fallacy, claiming something is false if it can't be expressed on a chalkboard.
Good one.
McKinnon Mitchell Studios is in the house. A fantastic documentarian. He's the one that released the documentary on Kent Hovind that completely obliterated that dude.
Oh yeah, I saw snippets of it. I didn't watch it all, but yeah, I liked it, or I like the sentiment of it at least. Yeah,
I'm still trying to convince him to release that thing on Amazon because everyone needs to see that. McKinnon Mitchell for $10 Freedom Dollars says the debate was both amazing to watch and extremely cringy. Well done, Dave. Love your stuff.
Thank you.
McKinnon's really good people. Zero. And the last one we got here is Zero for 50. I don't know what RON is. I don't know what currency that is. I'll have to find out later.
Romanian, I don't know.
I'm not sure. It says so. Was James like he was emulating Neil? So was James like he was emulating Neil Breen? So
who's Neil Breen? I don't know who that is.
Neil Breen is an Ed Wood style kind of filmmaker and just makes really super cheap stuff. If you're talking about like the quality of his presentation, quality of his arguments, then yes, I would say he's a
it said debate slides on the.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic stuff! All right. So, thank you, Professor Dave. Appreciate it. Do you have anything big coming up? Anything you talk about, or do you have stuff under wraps? Or
no, not really. Yeah, no, yeah, that was a big thing, and I don't have any really appearances planned. Yeah, I'm just kind of back here and working on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. All right, dude. Well, I do appreciate you hanging out with me. This has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on it. And
thanks for having me.
We're going to follow up with the channel. Follow Professor Dave Dave Farina, and of course at Professor Dave Explains on YouTube. Get over there, subscribe, hit that bell. He comes up with amazing content. And plus, go back and watch the old stuff when he put Globebusters in their place and totally embarrassed them because that shit is funny as fuck. It really is. You'll laugh your ass off.
Still the most viewed video on my channel.
It was savage. And I feel bad speaking ill of the dead, but Bob Nodell was just was so cringy. You have to watch it. Everybody, if you haven't watched it, go and watch his old stuff. Thank you, Dave. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll let you get back to it. I know you're busy, bud.
Cool. See you. Bye, everybody.
Take care, man. All right. So that was Professor Dave hanging out. This is an absolute blast. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. That was very, very cool. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. So I hope I got everybody's questions. I hope I was starring them as they were coming in and comments that I got. But that was an absolute blast. I wanted to sit down and have a chat with Professor Dave and get his context and talk about the things that, that was important, like get his take, because everything was so stacked against him in the debate. I really, really wanted to make sure that we had his input. So it's like, I had no idea that they had like a third of the audience section marked off just for religious people, but just like the church follow that is insane. That should have been students, faculty, and I don't think reserved seating like that is just, crazy. And yes, CPM, you are correct. Tang Whistle, you are correct. That moderator was a joke, was an absolute joke. Thank you so much for being here, Fangirl98. Good night. I hope you have a great night. Thank you very much, Hill Hugger. I do appreciate that. But yeah, this was fantastic. I really want to do this follow-up stream, and I want a huge, giant thank you to Professor Dave, to Dave Farina, for coming out and hanging out and taking the time, because his schedule is so busy. One thing I want to check, I actually want to see if because I wasn't watching, I apologize. I was getting thank you, Charlie Welch. I appreciate that. I was getting the super chats, but I don't know how many, I don't know if any channel memberships were gifted. So I'm going to double check in the studio to see if we unlocked the new emoji. And if we did, we will unveil that. Let me see here. Let me check it out. Did we unlock a new emoji? We have not yet. We have not unlocked a new emoji yet. It says that, oh, wow, it says we're 3 away. So I have a new emoji that I created just for this one. But, Charlie Welch, that wig was fucking taxidermy. It absolutely was. That wig was atrocious. Was absolutely atrocious. One of the worst things I've ever seen. Let me go ahead and clear these out. Make sure I get everything. Boom, boom, boom. And I hope I got everybody's questions. Oh, let me do it like this. Tiny Cap says, Charlie, that was for Charlie Welch. Lord, it's probing time. Good to see you. Says, fuck it. My internet dropped and I missed the last couple of minutes of Dave. Damn it. It's okay. You can catch it on the replay. There's that Dave Nuke emoji. Thank you. Wrote it in the last name. Gabba to you, sir. Clive Wells says the moderator was as convincing as his wig. Yeah, it was terrible. Aaron Reese says, I harbor deep desire to break Dave and make him guffaw. Aaron's a wild man. He really is. And congratulations, Aaron, on your hearing. Fantastic news. I know you've been waiting a long time for that. Way too long. The healthcare system in this nation is friggin' broken. I'm glad you got through it. I'm glad it was found in your favor. Well done. Congratulations to you. I just, it was amazing news to hear that. McKenna Mitchell Studio says, so what's on the discussion list now? Is cheesecake a cake or a pie? Cheesecake is actually, I think it has its own qualification, doesn't it? I think it has its own qualification. I have to look that up. Ooh, looks like we got some gifted memberships in. Let me see if we got it. Let me see. Go to here and emojis. Did we unlock another emoji? Yes, we did. Get ready for the next emoji. I have to upload it. And here we go. Uploading the new emoji now. The new emoji's been uploaded. I made it solely for this live stream because I know we have it. I'll tell you what, I will go ahead and I will share it with all of you because I'm really, really proud of this one. This was the new emoji I created for y'all. So just for this one. Yes, thank you very much, Clive Wells. There's the new emoji. So I hope you all enjoy that. I was really, really pleased. I was kind of pleased with myself because I made that. So yes, please enjoy the new Never Go Full Creationist. Never Go Full Creationist emoji. I appreciate that. All right. So we unlocked a new emoji. We had a fantastic talk with Dave. I've got new content coming out, all kinds of fun stuff. Man, I got a bunch of content coming up. I got a bunch of videos coming up like that. So stay tuned. Be sure if you haven't subbed, you hit that subscription button, hit that subscribe button. Of course, hit the bell for notifications. We have new content coming out here quite soon. And I'm going to toss that in the trash. Don't want it on my desktop. And got a 2-parter with Eric Hovind where I will be debunking a bunch of the crap that he puts out there. And all kinds of stuff. And also remember, Week in Horror, the horror film podcast that me, Johnny O, Eugene, Alex, and Aaron are on. We do that every week, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central. So if you like scary movies, pop on over there. I think we're like 102 subs away from 1K, slowly but surely. 102 away from 1,000 subs. Hopefully soon we will get there. But all kinds of cool stuff. That's an amazing live show that we do every week. Johnny is currently out of town right now. He's out of town on a shoot, so I'm looking forward to that. And all kinds of cool stuff. We have all kinds of stuff, cool stuff coming up. So this was an absolute blast. Wrote it no last name says to, I think this is to McKinnon Mitchell, cheesecake is a custard. It is a custard. Tango says, will you be hosting a movie anytime soon? Yes, I actually do, over on the Week in Horror Discord, where I show movies from my collection. Yes, I do plan on showing a film this week. It's just been crazy busy while I finish up editing, and I wanted to make sure I had this all set. So, McKenna Mitchell disagrees. He says, it is a pie. Oh, cheesecake is a pie. Cheesecake is a custard. It's on now. Surf is here. Surf says cheesecake is cheese. Duh. All right. So this has been an absolute blast. Thank you all so much for all of the new channel members. You unlocked the new emoji. And thank you so much for all of the super chats. Your super chats help to make this show possible and help me to do this. So it's been an absolute amazing, this was great. This is one that I was really excited for. I was kind of trying not to fanboy out myself and be like, because when I fanboy, I just get motor mouth. And your support, I hope you like the new lighting here in the room. It's currently blue, but it doesn't have to be. It can be red or it can be green, but I like the blue. I kind of dig the blue. But of course, I could always do... I could always change it up a little bit. I finally got the new lighting going on, so I was quite pleased with that. But yeah, I hope you all dig that. I like it a lot myself. Really pleased. Actually, you know what I should have done? Where did it go? I should have done that too. Boom and boom. I should have had those going on too, so we have a little bit of light in there. Oh, wrong way. So a little bit of light in there. So do deep purple. Do I have a purple? I think I do have a purple. Oh, I think that's as deep as it gets. Doesn't really look. It still looks blue, even though I know it's not. That's blue. Yeah. But there you go. Yeah, stay at primary colors. I like the blue. I really do. And RG, the red, the green, and the blue. So you can do red is just like really intense. It's like, oh, red. I'm so angry. Green, kind of like, but I really like the blue. I dig the blue. So I'm glad that y'all dig this. So, and plus, I have this cool new sound buffering stuff that you can't see on the camera, but is all up in the wall. So I was able to do all this kind of like cool redesign and stuff. So I hope you all dig it very much. This has been an absolute blast. I'm sitting here, I'm yammering on. Oh, I have another one. Mr. E-Man for 2 Australian says, thanks to everyone in the chat for being amazing. Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. E-Man, for that last super chat. You all are absolutely amazing. Thank you all very much. This has been an absolute blast. Ugly German Truths, good to see you. Says, but JL has graduated primary at least a couple of months ago. He's now in secondary school. I'm a learning machine. That's what I be. Tiny Captain says, on purple, the posters in the background jump out more. Oh, really? Do they? Oh, they kind of do a little bit. Oh, I see. Okay. I can see that. It's kind of neat. Oh, and thank you very much, Turtle M, for 2 Freedom Dollars. No message, but thank you very much, Turtle M. I do appreciate the super chat. You guys rock. You guys absolutely rock. So that being said, I appreciate everybody coming out. You guys rule. I'm going to be showing a movie over in the Discord. If not tonight, then tomorrow once I have the opportunity. But I appreciate everybody coming out. Y'all are absolutely amazing. Love each and every single one of you. As always, this has been Bridge the Divide. I am JL. Be safe. Be excellent to each other. And together, we can bridge the divide.